William Shatner is a Canadian actor, musician, singer, author, film director, spokesman and comedian. He gained worldwide fame and became a cultural icon for his portrayal of Captain James Tiberius Kirk, commander of the Federation's starship USS Enterprise, in the science fiction television series Star Trek, from 1966 to 1969. Star Trek, the animated series from 1973 to 1974, and in 7 of the subsequent Star Trek feature films from 1979 to 1994. He has written a series of books chronicling his experiences playing Captain Kirk and being a part of Star Trek, and has co-written several novels set in the Star Trek universe. He has also written a series of science fiction novels called TekWar that were adapted for television. Shatner also played the eponymous veteran police sergeant in T.J. Hooker from 1982 to 1986. Afterwards, he hosted the reality-based television series Rescue 911 from 1989 to 1996, which won a People's Choice Award for Favorite New TV Dramatic Series. He has since worked as a musician, author, director and celebrity pitchman. From 2004 to 2008, he starred as attorney Denny Crane in the television dramas The Practice and its spin-off Boston Legal, for which he won 2 Emmy Awards and a Golden Globe Award. Early life: Shatner was born on March 22, 1931, in the Quartier Saint-Luc neighborhood of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, the son of Joseph Shatner, a clothing manufacturer, and Anne. He has 2 sisters, Joy and Fala. His paternal grandfather, Wolf Shatner, anglicized the family name to Shatner. All of Shatner's grandparents were Jewish immigrants, and Shatner was raised in conservative Judaism. He attended 3 schools in Montreal, Willingdon Elementary School in Notre Dame de Grace-Sensei, Barenbine High School, and West Hill High School in NDG, and is an alumnus of the Montreal Children's Theatre. Shatner also studied economics at McGill University in Montreal, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Commerce degree. In June 2011, McGill awarded him an honorary Doctorate of Letters. Acting career: early stage, film, and television work. After graduating from McGill University in 1952, Shatner became the business manager for the Mountain Playhouse in Montreal before joining the Canadian National Repertory Theatre in Ottawa. Trained as a classical Shakespearean actor, Shatner began performing at the Shakespearean's Stratford Shakespeare Festival in Stratford, Ontario, beginning in 1954. He played a range of roles at the Stratford Festival in productions that included a minor role in the opening scene of a renowned and nationally televised production of Sophocles' Oedipus Rex directed by Tyrone Guthrie, Shakespeare's Henry V, and Marlowe's Tamburlaine the Great, in which Shatner made his Broadway debut in 1956. In 1954, he was cast as Ranger Bob on the Canadian Howdy Doody show. Shatner was understudy to Christopher Plummer. The two would later star as adversaries in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. Though his official movie debut was in the 1951 Canadian film, The Butler's Night Off, Shatner's first feature role came in the 1958 MGM film The Brothers Karamazov with Yul Brynner, in which he starred as the youngest of the Karamazov brothers, Alexei. In December of the same year, he appeared opposite Ralph Bellamy playing Roman tax collectors in Bethlehem on the day of Jesus' birth in a vignette of a Hallmark Hall of Fame live television production entitled The Christmas Tree directed by Kirk Browning, which featured in other vignettes such stars as Jessica Tandy, Margaret Hamilton, Bernadette Peters, Richard Thomas, Cyril Ritchard and Carol Channing. Shatner had a leading role in an Alfred Hitchcock Presents third season episode titled The Glass Eye, one of his first appearances on American television. In 1959, he received decent reviews when he took on the role of Lomax in the Broadway production of The World of Susie Wong. In March 1959, while performing on stage in Susie Wong, Shatner was also playing Detective Archie Goodwin in what would have been television's first Nero Wolfe series had it not been aborted by CBS after shooting a pilot and a few episodes. In 1960, he appeared twice as Wayne Gorham in NBC's Outlaws Western series with Barton McLean, and then in another Alfred Hitchcock Presents fifth season episode titled Mother, May I Go Out to Swim? In 1961, he starred in the Broadway play A Shot in the Dark with Julie Harrison, directed by Harold Clurman. Walter Matthau and Gene Saks were also featured in this play. Shatner also starred in 2 episodes of the NBC television series Thriller, The Grim Reaper, and The Hungry Glass. In 1961, he also starred in the film The Explosive Generation. Guthrie had called the young Shatner the Stratford Festival's most promising actor, and he was seen as a peer to contemporaries like Steve McQueen, Paul Newman and Robert Redford. Shatner was not as successful as the others, however, and during the 1960s he became a working actor who showed up on time, knew his lines, worked cheap and always answered his phone. His motto was work equals work, but Shatner's willingness to take any role, no matter how forgettable, likely hurt his career. In 1962, he starred in Roger Corman's movie The Intruder. He also appeared in the Stanley Kramer film Judgment at Nuremberg and 2 episodes, Nick of Time, and Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, of the science fiction anthology series The Twilight Zone. In the 1963–1964 season, he appeared in episodes of 2 ABC series, Chaining and The Outer Limits. In 1963, he starred in the family theatre production called The Soldier, and received credits in other programs of the Psalms series. That same year, he guest-starred in Route 66, in the episode, Build Your Houses with Their Backs to the Sea. In 1964, he guest-starred in the episode He Stuck in His Thumb of the CBS drama The Reporter. Also in 1964, he co-starred with Lawrence Harvey, Claire Bloom, Paul Newman and Edward G. Robinson in the Western film The Outrage. In 1965, Shatner guest-starred as Major Kurt Brown in second season episode 9, I Am the Enemy of 12 O'Clock High. He guest-starred in The Man from UNCLE. In an episode that also featured Leonard Nimoy, with whom Shatner would soon be paired in Star Trek. He also starred in the critically acclaimed drama For the People in 1965, as an assistant district attorney, co-starring with Jessica Walter. The program lasted for only 13 episodes. Shatner starred in the 1966 gothic horror film Incubus, the second feature-length movie ever made with all dialogue spoken in Esperanto. He also starred in an episode of Gunsmoke in 1966 as the character Fred Bateman. He appeared as attorney-turned-counterfeiter Brett Schuyler in a 1966 episode of The Big Valley, Time to Kill. In 1967, he starred in the little-known film White Comanche starring as 2 characters, Johnny Moon and his twin brother Nota. Star Trek. Shatner was first cast as Captain James T. Kirk for the second pilot of Star Trek, titled, Where No Man Has Gone Before. He was then contracted to play Kirk for the Star Trek series and held the role from 1966 to 1969. During its original run on NBC, the series pulled in only modest ratings and was cancelled after 3 seasons. In 1973, he returned to the role of Captain Kirk, albeit only in voice, in the animated Star Trek series. In his role as Kirk, Shatner famously kissed actress Nichelle Nichols in the November 22, 1968, Star Trek episode, Plato's Stepchildren. The episode is popularly cited as the first example of an interracial kiss between a white man and a black woman on scripted television in the United States. 1970s, Shatner's wife Gloria Rand divorced him in March 1969. After Star Trek was cancelled that year, Shatner experienced difficulty in finding work in the early 1970s, having been somewhat typecast from his role as Kirk. With very little money and few acting prospects, Shatner lost his home and lived in a truck-bed camper in the San Fernando Valley until small roles turned into higher-paying jobs. Shatner refers to this part of his life as that period, a humbling time during which he would take any odd job, including small party appearances, to support his family. Shatner again appeared in schlock films, such as Corman's Big Bad Mama and the horror film The Devil's Rain, and the TV movie The Horror at 37,000 Feet, which many fans believe is his worst work. Shatner received good reviews as the lead prosecutor in a 1971 PBS adaptation of Sol Levitt's play The Andersonville Trial. Other television appearances included a starring role in the Western-themed secret agent series Barbary Coast during 1975 and 1976, and guest roles on many 1970s series such as The $6 Million Man, Columbo, The Rookies, Kung Fu, Ironside and Mission Impossible. A martial arts enthusiast, Shatner studied American Kenpo karate under black belt Tom Bleecker. His fellow students included Steve McQueen and Elvis Presley. Shatner was an occasional celebrity guest on the $10,000 Pyramid and the $20,000 Pyramid in the 1970s, once appearing opposite Nimoy in a week-long match-up billed as Kirk vs. Spock. In a notable 1977 appearance he gave an illegal clue at the top of the pyramid which deprived the contestant of a big money win, and reacted strongly, throwing his chair out of the winner's circle. Other shows included The Hollywood Squares, Celebrity Bowling, Beat the Clock, Tattletales, Mike Stokey's Stump the Stars and Match Game. Richard Dawson, during an Archive of American Television interview, mentioned that Shatner was Mark Goodson's first choice to host the Family Feud pilot in 1976, but gave the job to Dawson instead. He did a number of television commercials for Ontario-based Loblaws and British Columbia-based Supervalu supermarket chains in the 1970s, and finished the Loblaws ad spots by saying, "At Loblaws, more than the price is right. But, by gosh, the price is right." He also did a number of television commercials for General Motors, endorsing the Oldsmobile brand, and Promise Margarine. A return to Kirk and to work. After its cancellation, Star Trek unexpectedly engendered a cult following during the 1970s from syndicated reruns, and Captain Kirk became a cultural icon. Shatner began appearing at Star Trek conventions organized by Trekkies. In the mid-1970s, Paramount began pre-production for a revised Star Trek television series, tentatively titled Star Trek, Phase 2. However, the phenomenal success of Star Wars led the studio to instead consider developing a Star Trek motion picture. Shatner and the other original Star Trek cast members returned to their roles when Paramount produced Star Trek, the motion picture, released in 1979. It re-established Shatner as a major film studio actor, and he played Kirk in the next 6 Star Trek films, ending with the character's death in 1994's Star Trek Generations. Some later appearances in the role are in the movie sequences of the video game Starfleet Academy, briefly for a direct advertisement using footage from Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country running from late summer 2006, and the 2013 Academy Awards, in which he reprised the role for a comedic interlude with host Seth MacFarlane. Although Trekkies had resurrected Star Trek after cancellation, in a 1986 Saturday Night Live sketch about a Star Trek convention, Shatner advised a room full of fans to get a life. The much-discussed sketch accurately portrayed his feelings about Trekkies, which the actor has previously discussed in interviews. Shatner had been their unwilling subject of adoration for decades. As early as April 1968, a group attempted to rip his clothes off as the actor left 30 Rockefeller Plaza, and he stopped attending conventions for more than a decade during the 1970s and 1980s. Shatner also appeared in the film Free Enterprise in 1998, in which he played himself and tried to dispel the Kirk image of himself from the view of the film's two lead characters. He also has found an outlet in spoofing the cavalier, almost superhuman, persona of Captain Kirk in films such as Airplane 2, the sequel, and National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1. In 1994, he starred as the murderer in the Columbo episode Butterfly and Shades of Grey. Besides the Star Trek films, Shatner landed a starring role on television as a police officer in T.J. Hooker, which ran from 1982 to 1986. He then hosted the popular dramatic reenactment series Rescue 911 from 1989 to 1996. During the 1980s, Shatner also began directing film and television, directing numerous episodes of T.J. Hooker and the feature film Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. Subsequent acting and media career, Shatner has enjoyed success with a series of science fiction novels published under his name, though most are widely believed to have been written by uncredited co-writers such as William T. Quick and Ron Goulart. The first, published in 1989, was TekWar, which Shatner claims he developed initially as a screenplay during a Writers Guild strike that delayed production of Star Trek V: The Final Frontier. This popular series of books led to 4 TekWar television movies, in which Shatner played the role of Walter Bascom, the lead character's boss. A short-lived television series followed, airing on USA Network and Sci-Fi Channel in the United States and CTV in Canada, in which Shatner made several appearances in the Bascom role and directed some of the episodes. In 1995, a first-person shooter game named William Shatner's TekWar was released, and was the first game to use the build engine. He also played as a narrator in the 1995 American documentary film Trinity and Beyond, the atomic bomb movie directed by Peter Curran. In the television series Third Rock from the Sun, Shatner appeared in several 1999 2000 episodes as the Big Giant Head, a high-ranking officer from the same alien planet as the Solomon family who becomes a womanizing party animal on Earth. The role earned Shatner an Emmy Award nomination. Shatner has appeared in advertisements for many companies and products. In the early 1980s he appeared in print and television ads endorsing the Commodore VIC-20 home computer. Since the late 1990s he has done a series of commercials for the travel website Priceline.com, in which Shatner plays a pompous, fictionalized version of himself. Although he received stock options for the commercials, Shatner insists that reports that they are now worth hundreds of millions of dollars are exaggerated. Shatner was also the CEO of the Toronto, Ontario-based TekWar Digital Pictures, a special effects studio that operated from 1994 to 2010. In May 1999, Simon & Schuster published Shatner's book, Get a Life, which details his experiences with Star Trek fandom, anecdotes from Trek conventions, and his interviews with dedicated fans, in particular those who found deeper meaning in the franchise. In 2000, Shatner co-starred in the movie Miss Congeniality as Stan Fields, playing the role of co-host of the Miss United States pageant alongside future Boston Legal co-star Candice Bergen. He reprised the role in the 2004 sequel Miss Congeniality 2, Armed and Fabulous, in which Stan Fields was kidnapped in Las Vegas along with the winner of the pageant of the previous year. In the 2001 live-action animated film Osmosis Jones, he voiced Mayor Flegming, the self-centered head of the city of Frank, a community comprising all the cells and microorganisms of a man's body who is constantly preoccupied with his re-election and his own convenience, even to the detriment of his city and constituents. In 2003, Shatner appeared in Brad Paisley's Celebrity and online music videos along with Little Jimmy Dickens, Jason Alexander, and Trista Wren. Shatner also had a supporting role in the 2004 comedy Dodgeball, a true underdog story, which starred Ben Stiller and Vince Vaughn. Star Trek Enterprise producer Manny Coto stated in Star Trek Communicators' October 2004 issue that he was preparing a 3-episode story arc for Shatner. Shortly thereafter, Enterprise was cancelled. After David E. Kelley saw Shatner's commercials, he joined the final season of the legal drama The Practice. His Emmy Award-winning role, the eccentric but highly capable attorney Denny Crane, was essentially William Shatner the man. Playing William Shatner, the character playing the character Denny Crane, who was playing the character William Shatner. Shatner took the Crane role to Boston Legal, and won a Golden Globe, an Emmy in 2005, and was nominated again in 2006, 2007, 2008, and 2009 for his work. With the 2005 Emmy win, Shatner became one of the few actors to win an Emmy Award while playing the same character in 2 different series. Even rarer, Shatner and Spader each won a second consecutive Emmy while playing the same character in 2 different series. Shatner remained with the series until its end in 2008. Shatner made several guest appearances on The Tonight Show with Conan O'Brien, including cameos reciting Sarah Palin's resignation speech, Twitter posts, and autobiography. He has also recited Twitter posts by Levi Johnston, father of Palin's grandson. He also appears in the opening graphics of the occasional feature In the Year 3000, with his disembodied head floating through space, announcing, "And so we take a cosmic ride into that new millennium. That far-off reality that is the year 3000, followed by the tagline, It's the Future, Man. He also played the voice of Ozzy the Opossum in DreamWorks' 2006 feature Over the Hedge. In January 2007, Shatner launched a series of daily vlogs on his life called Shatner Vision on the livevideo.com website. In 2008, he launched his video blogs on YouTube in a project renamed The Shatner Project. Shatner also starred as the voice of Don Salmonella Gavone on the 2009 YouTube animated series The Gavones. Shatner was not offered or suggested a role in the 2009 film Star Trek. Director J.J. Abrams said in July 2007 that the production was desperately trying to figure out a way to put him in, but that to shove him in would be a disaster, an opinion echoed by Shatner in several interviews. At a convention held in 2010, Shatner commented on the film by saying, "I've seen that wonderful film." Shatner had invented his own idea about the beginning of Star Trek with his 2007 novel, Star Trek: Academia Euro Collision Course. His autobiography Up Till Now, the autobiography was released in 2008. He was assisted in writing it by David Fisher. Shatner has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at 6901 Hollywood Boulevard. He also has a star on the Canada's Walk of Fame. Shatner was the first Canadian actor to star in 3 successful television series on 3 different major networks. He also starred in the CBS sitcom Dollar. My Dad Says, which is based on the Twitter feed Shit My Dad Says created by Justin Halpern. The series premiered in late 2010 and was cancelled May 2011. Shatner is also the host of the interview show Shatner's Raw Nerve on the Biography Channel, and the Discovery Channel television series Weird or What? Also in 2011, Shatner appeared in the episode of Psych titled, In for a Penny on the USA Network as the estranged father of junior detective Juliet O'Hara. He has signed on to continue the role into the 2012 season. In 2011, Shatner starred in The Captains, a feature-length documentary which he also wrote and directed. The film follows Shatner as he interviews the other actors who have portrayed starship captains within the Star Trek franchise. Shatner's interviewees included Patrick Stewart, Avery Brooks, Kate Mulgrew, Scott Bakula, and Chris Pine. In the film, Shatner also interviews Christopher Plummer, who is an old friend and colleague from Shatner's days with the Stratford Shakespeare Festival. In February 2012, Shatner performed in a new one-man show on Broadway, called Shatner's World, We Just Live in It. After a 3-week run at the Music Box Theatre, the show is currently touring throughout the United States. In May 2012, Shatner was the guest presenter on the British satirical television quiz show Have I Got News for You, during which he coined the portmanteau pensioner, combining the words pensioner and pioneer. On July 28, 2012, the premium cable TV channel Epix premiered Get a Life, a documentary on Star Trek fandom starring Shatner that takes its title from his infamous Saturday Night Live line and his 1999 book on the topic. On September 25, 2012, Shatner portrayed the home plate umpire in the music video at Fenway, which was written and recorded by crooner Brian Evans. Evans' work is the first song to be written about Fenway Park to be licensed by Major League Baseball. Music and spoken word work. Shatner began his musical career with the spoken word 1968 album The Transformed Man, delivering exaggerated, interpretive recitations of Mr. Tambourine Man, and Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. He performed a reading of the Elton John song Rocket Man during the 1978 Science Fiction Film Awards that has been widely parodied. Ben Folds, who has worked with him several times, produced and co-wrote Shatner's well-received second studio album, Has Been, in 2004. His third studio album, Seeking Major Tom, was released on October 11, 2011. The fourth, Ponder the Mystery, was released in October 2013, produced and composed by musician Billy Sherwood. William Shatner has done a concert tour with some ex-member of Yes as Tony Kaye and Billy Sherwood with the group of Circa. Space Shuttle Discovery, Shatner recorded a wake-up call that was played for the crew of STS-133 in the Space Shuttle Discovery on March 7, 2011, its final day docked to the International Space Station. Backed by the musical theme from Star Trek, It featured a voiceover based on his spoken introduction from the series' opening credits, Space, the Final Frontier. These have been the voyages of the Space Shuttle Discovery. Her 30-year mission, to seek out new science, to build new outposts, to bring nations together on the final frontier, to boldly go and do what no spacecraft has done before. Personal life. Shatner dislikes watching himself perform, and claims that he has never watched any Star Trek or Boston Legal television episodes nor any of the Star Trek movies except the unedited footage from Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, which he directed, although he makes reference to having re-watched episodes of Star Trek in his book Star Trek Memories. Family. Shatner has been married 4 times. His first marriage was to Gloria Rand, from 1956 to 1969. His second marriage to Marcy Lafferty lasted from 1973 to 1996. His third marriage was to Narayan Kid Shatner, from 1997 until her death in 1999. On August 9, 1999, Shatner returned home around 10 p.m. to discover Narayan's body at the bottom of their backyard swimming pool. She was 40 years old. An autopsy detected alcohol and Valium in her blood, but the coroner ruled the cause of death as an accidental drowning. The LAPD ruled out foul play, and the case was closed. Speaking to the press shortly after his wife's death, a clearly shaken and emotional Shatner said that she meant everything to him, and called her his beautiful soulmate. Shatner urged the public to support Friendly House, a non-profit organization that helps women re-establish themselves in the community after suffering from alcoholism and drug addiction. He later told Larry King in an interview that, "My wife, whom I loved dearly, and who loved me, was suffering with a disease that we don't like to talk about. Alcoholism. And she met a tragic ending because of it." In his 2008 book Up Till Now, the autobiography, Shatner discusses how Leonard Nimoy helped take Narayan to treatment for her alcoholism. Shatner writes in an excerpt from his book, "Leonard Nimoy's personal experience of alcoholism now came to play a central role in my life, and it helped us bond together in a way I never could have imagined in the early days of Star Trek." After Narayan, Kid and I had been to dinner with Leonard and Susan Nimoy one evening, Leonard called and said, "Bill, you know she's an alcoholic?" I said I did. I married Narayan in 1997, against the advice of many and my own good sense. But I thought she would give up alcohol for me. We had a celebration in Pasadena, and Leonard was my best man. I woke up about 8 o'clock the next morning and Narayan was drunk. She was in rehab for 30 days 3 different times. Twice she almost drank herself to death. Leonard took Narayan to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, but she did not want to quit. In 2000, a Reuters story reported that Shatner was planning to write and direct The Shiva Club, a dark comedy about the grieving process inspired by his wife's death. Shatner's 2004 album has been included a spoken word piece titled, "What Have You Done?" that describes his anguish upon discovering his wife's body in the pool. What Have You Done was also sampled in the Concord Dawn and Chris Sue drum and bass track entitled Scream to the Stars. Since 2001, Shatner has been married to Elizabeth Anderson Martin. In 2004, she co-wrote the song together on Shatner's album Has Been. Relationships with other actors. Shatner first appeared on screen with Leonard Nimoy in 1964, when both actors guest starred in an episode of The Man from UNCLE, entitled The Project Strager's Affair. However, Shatner states in his autobiography that he does not recall meeting Nimoy at that time. As co-stars on Star Trek, they interacted socially both on and off the set. After Star Trek's cancellation in 1969, Shatner and Nimoy reunited in the production of Star Trek, the animated series, as well as the $20,000 Pyramid, where Kirk vs. Spock appeared on 2 different tables. Nimoy also guest-starred on T.J. Hooker for a few episodes. Shatner starred in the title role of the show. The 1999 death of Shatner's third wife, Narayan, served to strengthen the friendship of Shatner and Nimoy, as Nimoy had mourned over the loss. Nimoy also appeared alongside Shatner at the TV Land Awards and was one of the many people to serve as a celebrity roaster of Shatner. Nimoy summarized his 4-decade friendship with Shatner by remarking, "Bill's energy was good for my performance, 'cause Spock could be the cool individual. Our chemistry was successful, right from the start." Nimoy has spoken about their mutual rivalry during the Star Trek years, very competitive, sibling rivalry up to here. After the show had been on the air a few weeks and they started getting so much mail for Spock, then the dictum came down from NBC, "Give us more of that guy, they love that guy, you know?" Well, that can be a problem for the leading man who was hired as the star of the show. And suddenly, here's this guy with ears what's this, you know? Said Nimoy. Shatner has similarly described their Star Trek relationship, stating that they only became close friends while attending fan conventions together. On an episode of the A&E series biography, Nimoy remarked, "Bill Shatner hogging the stage? No. Not the Bill Shatner I know." Shatner has been a friend of actress Heather Locklear since 1982, when Locklear began co-starring with him on T.J. Hooker as Officer Stacy Sheridan. As she was also appearing in a semi-regular role in another Aeron Spelling production, Dynasty. At the same time, Locklear was asked by Entertainment Tonight whether this schedule was difficult. She replied, "I'd get really nervous and want to be prepared. For Shatner and for the experienced cast of Dynasty." After Hooker ended, Shatner helped Locklear get other roles. Locklear supported a grieving Shatner in 1999 when he was mourning the death of his wife, Noreen. In 2005, Locklear appeared in 2 episodes of Shatner's Boston Legal as Kelly Nolan, an attractive, youthful woman being tried for killing her much older, wealthy husband. Shatner plays Denny Crane, a founding partner of a large law firm, and a legendary litigator. Crane is attracted to Nolan and tries to insert himself into her defense. He is about the same age as Nolan's deceased husband, so Crane courts death by pursuing her. Locklear was asked how she came to appear on Boston Legal. She explained, "I love the show, it's my favorite show. And I sorta kind of said, shouldn't I be William Shatner's illegitimate daughter, or his love interest?" For years, Shatner was accused of being difficult to work with by some of his Star Trek co-stars, most notably James Doohan and George Takei. In the 2004 Star Trek DVD sets, Shatner seemed to have made up with Takei, but their differences continue to resurface. In the 1990s, Shatner made numerous attempts to reconcile with Doohan, but was unsuccessful for some time. However, an Associated Press article published at the time of Doohan's final convention appearance in late August 2004 stated that Doohan had forgiven Shatner and they had mended their relationship. Health problems. Shatner suffers from tinnitus as a result of an accident on the set while shooting the Star Trek episode Arena, and is involved in the American Tinnitus Association. His treatment for this condition involved wearing a small electronic device that generated a low-level, broadband sound that helped his brain put the tinnitus in the background. His friend, Leonard Nimoy, also suffers the same condition as a result of the same accident. Both suffer the condition in opposite ears. Hobbies and charity work. In 2006, Shatner sold his kidney stone for $25,000 to GoldenPalace.com. In an appearance on The View on May 16, 2006, Shatner said the $25,000 and an additional $20,000 raised from the cast and crew of Boston Legal paid for the building of a house by Habitat for Humanity. In his spare time, Shatner enjoys breeding and showing American saddlebreds and quarter horses. Shatner rode one of his own horses, a mare named Great Bells of Fire, in his role as James T. Kirk in Star Trek Generations. Shatner has a 150-hectare farm near Versailles, Kentucky, named Belle Reve, where he raises American saddlebreds including 3 named Call Me Ringo, Revival, and Sultan's Great Day. The farm's activities help benefit the Central Kentucky Riding for Hope Horses for Heroes program. Shatner also plays on the World Poker Tour and Hollywood Home Games, where celebrities play for their favorite charities. Since 1990, he has been a leading force behind the Hollywood charity Horse Show, which raises money for children's charities. Public appearances. In 2014, William Shatner will be one of the Grand Marshals for the 102nd Calgary Stampede, as he was an avid equestrian. Nominations and awards. Shatner earned Saturn Award nominations for his performances in the Star Trek films. He earned 5 Best Actor nominations, the first for Kingdom of the Spiders, the 4 other for the first 4 Star Trek films. He won the award for Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and also earned the Life Career Award in 1980. On the negative side, Shatner was nominated for 3 Golden Raspberry Awards in Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, including Worst Screenplay, and won 2 for Worst Actor and Worst Director. In 2004, Shatner won his first Emmy Award for his role as Denny Crane on The Practice. In 2005, he won his first Golden Globe Award and a second Emmy Award for Best Supporting Actor in a Drama Series for his work on Boston Legal. In 2009, Shatner won a Streamy Award in the category of Best Reality Web Series. In 2006, Shatner was inducted into the Television Hall of Fame. In May 2011, he was honored with the Governor General's Performing Arts Award for Lifetime Achievement, recording a humorous short film William Shatner Sings O Canada for the occasion. On June 2, 2011, Shatner received an honorary Doctorate of Letters from McGill University, his alma mater. In April 2014, Shatner was awarded NASA's Distinguished Public Service Medal, which is the highest award NASA can give a non-government employee. It was given to him for his outstanding generosity and dedication to inspiring new generations of explorers around the world, and for unwavering support for NASA and its missions of discovery. Filmography, works by William Shatner, bibliography, fiction, the TekWar series, co-written with Ron Goulart, TekWar ISBN 0-399-13495-6, TekLords ISBN 0-399-13616-9, TekLab ISBN 0-399-13736-X, TekVengeance ISBN 0-399-13788-2, TekSecret ISBN 0-399-13892-7. TekPower ISBN 0-399-13997-4, TekMoney ISBN 0-399-14109-X, TekKill ISBN 0-399-14202-9, TekNet ISBN 0-399-14339-4. Star Trek series, with Judith and Garfield Reeves-Stevens, Star Trek, The Ashes of Eden, 1995, ISBN 0-671-52035-0, Star Trek, The Return, 1996, ISBN 0-671-52610-3, Star Trek, Avenger, 1997, ISBN 0-671-55132-9, Star Trek, Spectre, 1998, ISBN 0-671-00878-1. Star Trek, Dark Victory, 1999, ISBN 0-671-00882-X, Star Trek, Preserver, 2000, ISBN 0-671-02125-7, Star Trek, Captain's Peril, 2002, ISBN 0-7434-4819-7, Star Trek, Captain's Blood, 2003, ISBN 0-671-02129-X, Star Trek, Captain's Glory, 2006, ISBN 0-7434-5343-3. Star Trek, The Academia Euro Collision Course, 2007, ISBN 1-4165-0396-X. War Series, Man O' War, 1996, ISBN 0-399-14131-6, The Law of War, 1998, ISBN 0-399-14360-2. Quest for Tomorrow series, Delta Search, 1997, ISBN 0-06-105274-4, In Alien Hands, 1997, ISBN 0-06-105275-2, Step into Chaos, 1999, ISBN 0-06-105276-0, Beyond the Stars, 2000, ISBN 0-06-105118-7, Shadow Planet, 2002, ISBN 0-06-105119-5. Relieve, 1992, ISBN 978-0-425-13296-8, Comic Book Adaptations, William Shatner's TekWar, Star Trek, The Ashes of Eden, DC Comics graphic novel, 1995, ISBN 1-56389-235-9. Non-fiction, Captain's Log, William Shatner's personal account of the making of Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, as told by Elizabeth Shatner, 1989, ISBN 0-671-68652-6, Star Trek Memories, with Chris Kresge, 1993, ISBN 0-06-017734-9, Star Trek Movie Memories, with Chris Kresge, 1994, ISBN 0-06-017617-2, Get a Life. With Chris Kresge, 1999, ISBN 0-671-02131-1, Star Trek, I'm Working on That, A Trek from Science Fiction to Science Fact, with Chip Walker, 2002, ISBN 0-671-04737-X, Up Till Now, The Autobiography, with David Fisher, 2008, ISBN 0-283-07058-7, Shatner Rules, with Chris Regan, 2011, ISBN 0-525-95251-9, references. Further reading, William Shatner and the Fromage Frontier, 8-page interview by Claire Connors, 7 photos including cover by Jeff Lipsky. Cheese Connoisseur, Summer 2013, cover story, pages 26-33. Published by Phoenix Media Network, Incorporated, Boca Raton, Florida. Shatner discusses his career, health, current and future projects, and, especially, his appreciation for cheese. External links, official website, William Shatner at the Internet Movie Database, William Shatner at the TCM Movie Database, William Shatner at All Movie.